can't wrap your head around the size of that thing. We were only in like a third of it was closed for maintenance. And when you're standing in it, it's separated in half by a big wall for earthquake stuff. And you just look around and you realize there's double that on the other side. And then there's a tank this way and 2 tanks this way. And then you think that a portion of the Salt Lake Valley is going through 3 of those in a day. It's just hard to wrap your head around it.
Welcome to Herrimanology,
the official podcast to keep up with Herriman City.
We'll take you inside the city, explore the latest news and updates, show you how your government operates, and discuss the issues that affect us all. Now, here are your hosts talking all things Herriman on Herrimanology.
All right, welcome to Herrimanology. It is Thursday, April 2nd, and hopefully everybody survived April Fool's Day. We had a post out there on our page.
I was very excited about that post.
About Yetis.
Yes, very much so.
A lot of people wished it was real. Unfortunately, it's not. At least not yet.
We'll work on it.
That'd be nice. Yeah,
I'm for it.
It is also snowing outside because it's springtime in the Rockies, and that's what happens.
It's April.
Yeah. We didn't get any snow all winter, and here we are. Freeze warning tonight, so hopefully I'll get this posted.
Cover those tomatoes you planted early.
Yep. It's been 70, 80 degrees the last couple of weeks, and here we are going to freeze.
Utah.
I'm John LaFollette, Communications Manager for Herriman City, joined today by City Councilmember Matt Basham. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. So we opened with water. We have a lot to talk about today. By the way, sorry we didn't do a podcast last week. I didn't have time, and we have a lot to go over today. But a lot of water-related things. Last week, you were part of a group that was invited to go to the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District's gigantic water tank.
Massive.
100 million gallons. We walked through part of it.
Correct.
I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. It reminded me of the Mines of Moria. You walk inside and it's just concrete pillars. It looks like the dwarves realm. Is really cool. If you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, I apologize, but that was a really big water tank. And somebody asked naturally, how long does it take to drain this during, say peak time? Drains 3 times a day.
Takes 8 hours to drain that thing,
which is kind of sobering once you're standing. It's one of those things kind of like the Redwood Forest where you have to be there to really appreciate the size. 2-dimensional pictures don't really do it justice.
Not even close.
Yeah. Well, now that you had the chance to go walk through that was my first time too. What were your thoughts just about the tank in general and just our water system in general?
You can't wrap your head around the size of that thing. We were only in I believe a third of it was closed for maintenance. And when you're standing in it, it's separated in half by a big wall for some engineering stuff, earthquake stuff. And you just look around and you realize there's double that on the other side. And then there's a tank this way and 2 tanks this way. You can't wrap your head around the size of that. And then you think that a portion of the Salt Lake Valley is going through 3 of those in a day. It's just hard to wrap your head around it.
So we get some of our water from the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. During the peak time in the summer, we get a lot of our water from them, but we also have local wells, which have some pros and cons with it. The pros are it's locally sourced, so we don't have to buy water from elsewhere. It's a lot cheaper to use our own groundwater. One of the drawbacks is a lot of people in Herriman are familiar.
Got to have a hard hat if you're going to put that on your head.
It is very, very hard water. We joke sometimes that the EPA, the federal EPA, says anything above 10 grains per gallon in terms of total dissolved solids, just a measurement of hardness. Anything above 10 grains per gallon is considered very hard. You can't find anything in the state of Utah that's under 10 grains. Most of our water is between 30 and 50 grains per gallon. So all that to say, during the winter, in the last couple of years, we've used Jordan Valley water that is much less hard, still hard, but not as crazy hard. And then the summertime, we use a blend of Jordan Valley plus local water. That transition is going to be happening within a few weeks here. So there, a lot of people's houses in Herriman, your water's going to get noticeably harder here in a few weeks.
Time to crank up that water softener again.
Yeah. So if you kind of dialed in your setting to what you wanted last summer going into last fall, hopefully you wrote that down somewhere, because that's about what it's going to go back to here. So that change happens about mid-April. Also want to mention with that, sometimes there's air pockets that when you turn on a water source or turn off, so if you transition water sources, there are air pockets, and it comes through and people see a lot of air bubbles in their water. I'm like, oh, what is this? It looks kind of weird. If you give it 10 seconds, you'll see the bubbles float to the top. It's just air. It's fine. Some people get funny about that.
I turned my water off when I went on vacation here a couple of weeks ago and turned it back on. And you have kind of like the equalization of the system in your house, and you get those air bubbles, and it looks funky for a minute.
It does. You're like, oh, do I have a bunch of dirt in my water? No, you don't. If you do, then, we'll look at your water line. But the vast majority of the time, it's just air bubbles. So just give it a few seconds. It'll float out at the top, and that'll be fine. You have sitting on here your desk a screenshot from
I do.
The water dashboard. We've mentioned the water dashboard a few times, but every resident, or just about every resident in Herriman, has the ability to go to a free portal dashboard online thing to be able to see your home's water consumption. You have a screenshot of yours at your home there.
So basically, this is a printout of the last 12 months of my consumption, and it's represented as a graph, as you can hopefully see. I use off peak. I use roughly, 2,200 gallons of water a month. Now, it's just me, my wife, and Indy, the doodle, right? So we're not using a lot of water, but in the summertime, when I'm watering my grass, I'm using anywhere between 30 to 32,000 gallons of water. So I'm throwing 29,000 gallons of water to keep my grass green. That was eye-opening. It's not fun to look at that graph and go, what am I doing? Yeah.
We've had similar numbers in our house, and I'll give you some credit here. You have a larger lot than I do. You use about the same amount of water as I do. You have more grass, so you are more efficient with your lawn watering than we are at our house. And that's something that we try to be aware of too. In fact, last year we used the Jordan Valley incentive program to flip some of our grass over to water efficient landscaping. But no matter how you slice it, we use a ton of water. Even if we're being efficient, we use a ton of water in outdoor landscaping.
Yep. That's going to have to change.
If you want to change at your house, you can. If you want to use less, if you have patches of grass that you never use except to mow it and to irrigate it, maybe that's a good opportunity to consider flipping it to something else. But I also want to point out that when we as Herriman City or Jordan Valley or the state of Utah says, let's be smart with water, none of us are saying don't ever use water. We're humans. We have to drink, for one, or else we'll die. But we also have yards, we have landscapes, and using no water is not a great solution either.
I think we're pretty good about the use of our indoor water.
Yeah.
I think, because we're watching it, we're not leaving stuff on, take shorter showers and stuff like that. Plus, all the shower heads that you're buying, they have the water restrictions. So you're getting more bang for your buck, so to speak, with your shower. When we start watering outside, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And we don't realize how much water we're using until you look at something like this and you're like, wow. And even if I could reduce this by 20%, and my neighbor can reduce it by 20%, and so on and so forth, our grass is most likely still going to stay green because we're overwatering, but yet we're conserving all of that water.
Yep. And I'll put it into a bit of an illustration. So I did some math for a newsletter a couple months ago. If you have basically an average size lawn, let's say a 1/4 acre lot, and a fair amount of that is grass, most people use 2,000 to 2,500 gallons per watering. And if you were to stand in an average size bedroom, that's filling water to your waist.
Oh, wow.
Every single time you water your lawn. So if you do that 3, 4, 5, some people do 6 or 7 times a week, which don't do that. that really adds up. That you
And we're draining that million gallon tank 3 times a day.
Exactly.
That's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, just this year, especially now that it's raining, don't get laxed. We still have a pretty dire water situation.
Yes, we do.
In fact, you've been sitting in some of the Jordan Valley
Correct.
Water Board meetings. What's the situation that you've been hearing?
The situation, I mean, this year regarding the storage, like we're okay this year. Our reservoirs are anywhere between 60, 65, 68% of capacity now. So we're okay short term. If we have another water year next year that we had this year, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be a good situation. So we have to figure out a way, like moving forward as our communities continue to grow and the scarcity of water. We only have so much water and we have more people using it. If we want to continue the growth that we have, and some people just don't, but it's not necessarily economically feasible for the state to stay healthy and not grow, which means that we got to figure out a way to do it different.
Yeah. So there are a lot of resources, and this will be a topic that comes up quite a bit this year.
Definitely.
If you read our monthly newsletter, there's going to be a lot of water-related topics in there. So we'll leave it there for today, but just please be smart with your water. Be intentional with your water. If you haven't looked at your sprinkler control box since you moved into your house, now would be a good time to go familiarize yourself with that and look at the watering schedule.
And with the rain that we've received the last couple of days and we're still getting outside, there is no reason to be watering our grass right now. And probably for the next 2 or 3, even 4 weeks, we probably don't have to have our irrigation systems on.
Yeah. Moving on from water, there are a couple of things from the city council meeting last week that, because we didn't have time to do a podcast last week, we want to hit this week. One was the approval of an updated transportation master plan, meaning basically a road project master plan. And that's a long-range plan. Some people wonder, does the government actually plan anything? The answer is yes, we do. We plan a great deal, and this was an update to our transportation plan.
That transportation plan, the work and the data that goes into that it's a crazy amount of work. What I love about it is the interfaces that are available for us to look at the results of that are so user-friendly. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, it's on the Herriman website. Go to the Herriman website, go to the search bar and just type in transportation plan. It'll come up. Yep. And you can peruse through all of the different slides, and you can, there's little slides that you can move back and forth to kind of show how the traffic is going to be depending on whether improvements are done or not. And what I was interested to find out when I initially looked at the plan is we feel like the traffic is just horrific, right? Because we were going through the Bangor Highway interchange projects and stuff like that. And so we were feeling it. And then other, more specific local projects are happening here in Herriman, and those kind of build up on us. But when you look at the plan, we're not in bad shape. We're not. Now, if we don't do some things down the road, those major arteries are going to have some major problems. So those are definitely being worked on. The Wasatch Front Regional Council is very aware of those issues and seem to be willing to put forth the funds to make it better. And as to what it's going to be, we don't know yet, but it is on the top of their list for sure.
Yeah. Some people wonder if the city government or regional governments of the county are even aware of traffic. The answer is yes. We live here. We drive on 118th South, 126, 6000 West, Rosecrest, Rail, we drive all these roads. Like, we live here, so none of this is invisible to us. We know that during rush hour, it is a chaotic mess sometimes, and it's maddening.
It is.
There's a plan to address all these.
Correct.
We also have limited resources. We can't do everything all at once. I will note last year, a lot of things did happen at once, and that was a mess too. So we can't.
And I'm learning like engineering things regarding, these roads taking this position. A road isn't engineered to be, traffic jam free during peak times. It's just not, because we would have roads that are, 8 lanes wide that we don't need 90% of the time. Right. And so, yeah, we feel the pain when we're driving on those roads during peak usage, but when it's not peak usage, those roads are flowing just great.
Yeah. We also tied a bow, at least for now, on the Herriman Rose Blvd and Main Street intersection. That's been a hot topic for that local community for a long time, and may still be. In fact, I will say it will still be.
Definitely.
The question before the council last week was following a community meeting we had a couple months ago now. We have one specific type of improvement that the city was tentatively awarded grant funding for that we couldn't use for anything else. It was one specific type of improvement. We took it to a community meeting and said, hey, what do you think? The answer was overwhelmingly, we don't want this. Not everybody agreed on exactly what they do want. There are a lot of different priorities there. It's a really tough intersection. But the city council talked about that, went over the feedback, and made a decision, at least for now.
Correct. Yeah, that we are just going to forego the grant and leave things as is now. The issue with that intersection is just by eliminating those left-hand turns going in to that neighborhood reduces the access for that neighborhood just dramatically. There's only just a couple of ways in and out, and really only one major way in and out, and that's it. Yeah. And so by eliminating those left-hand turns to provide additional safety for crossing there, the neighborhood just was not on board with that.
Yeah. So we'll keep looking at it as time goes on. Like we said, it's a tricky intersection. There are a lot of people who have a lot of ideas, and we've looked at a lot of ideas. There aren't any great, perfect solutions that'll be great for everyone. So it's one of those tricky things where so right now the status quo is the answer.
Correct. So the safe route for the school walking will be down to cross at the intersection closer to City Hall where it's protected by the traffic signal.
Yeah. So same route that it's been. Before we're done, I want to mention a few ribbon cuttings. In fact, you just came from one. So congratulations to I hope I get the name right. The Utah Veterinary Emergency Center?
Correct. I think that sounds super close. Yeah.
So I apologize if I got the name wrong, but congratulations to them. They got to cut the ribbon today.
They did. It's a great asset to our community. This is a locally owned emergency veterinary hospital. So this is something that doesn't have the corporate kind of persona that seems to be gobbling up some of these veterinary clinics. This is locally owned and operated. And so these are, people that are part of, our community and have invested in our community, and our community will be direct beneficiaries of it. And, taking a tour of that hospital, the capital investment and those things are not cheap. So we're super happy that they chose Herriman.
Yeah. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to the community for being able to get that and add it to the community. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was last week, there were a couple of others. Salt City Tacos
opened
their doors.
Yep. I had an opportunity. I wasn't able to eat there during the ribbons ceremony because it was super early and I had an appointment to get to. Not early. It was 9:00. But I had to skip out a little bit early on that. But I had a chance to eat there yesterday. It is fantastic. Ooh. So yeah, that is a must go try that.
We put that on social media, as we do for pretty much any business ribbon cutting, all business ribbon cuttings, and the excitement is palpable. It is there. So that's over, if I remember correctly, over by Lee's Marketplace, just off Real Vista Drive.
Correct. It is in the same building that the Starbucks is in.
And down the hill a little bit. It's not visible from some angles.
Correct.
So it is there. Just go down the hill a little bit and you'll see
it'll be basically just right across the street to the north of the new 7-Eleven that's going in.
And one more business who cut the ribbon a week or two ago, the Herriman Pet Vet.
Correct.
So we've had a run of kind of pet related things. They're not all quite the exact same thing, but a badly needed service. So congratulations to the Herriman Pet Vet.
Yeah. Like there are so many pets around. Like it's tough when you call up your vet and you kind of have your pupper that needs a little bit of immediate attention. Like it's hard to get those same day appointments. And so it's great that as our community grows, we'll have those services, and we have, I think, 2 now more emergency types, or at least clinics that have extended hours. And I believe 2 of them, the one that we did the ribbon cutting the open ribbon cutting today, they'll be open 24/7. So it's great to have those people open when you need them.
Yeah. So congratulations to all of them. There are more businesses to come, and happy to share the happy news every time. So that's probably good for today. We have more things we can go over, but they're not urgent to this week. One last thing water related that I did want to mention was that secondary water. I know a lot of people are interested in that. It doesn't apply to everyone. We're being told that the water will turn on from Utah Lake beginning of May, and it'll get here and be ready for use in Herriman about middle of May. So another month and a half-ish out for that. So
just in time to probably the timing when you need to start watering.
Probably, yeah. In fact, we're trying to tell people, wait until Mother's Day if you can.
Yep.
Help conserve water. Your lawn's going to be fine. Grass is resilient. Water your plants and shrubs if you need to. That's a relative drop in the bucket water-wise, and but lawns can handle a lot. So this is the year to wait. So,
agreed.
Councilmember Basham, thank you.
Appreciate you having me again. Thanks for letting me come back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We were going to do it a couple of weeks ago, and then Chief Carr said, "No, I want to be on the podcast."
I would have
bumped you out.
Definitely traded spots with Chief if he was willing to stay around for just a minute longer. But
Yeah.
we're happy for him.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening and watching, and we will catch you next time.